for years to get funding for weather modification and geoengineering. I have a very lengthy article, Weather Modification Laws in the United States of America, which will go through each state by state, including the Convention for Biological Diversity's law banning it. Countries agree to ban geoengineering, what the UN ban on geoengineering really means. At the UN, groups push for geoengineering moratorium. The Space Preservation Act, where they actually said the word chemtrails in it, and all of the different laws that I said. Interestingly enough, if you scroll down here to the bottom, Washington State, just to give you an example of a law that's actually on the books in America, Title 43, Chapter 4337, Weather Modification. These are the exemptions. You are exempt from reporting the weather modification activities in the state of Washington if the department, to the extent it deems practical, shall provide by regulation for exempting from all license, permit, and liability requirements. 1. Research and development and experiments by state and federal agencies, institutions of higher learning, and bona fide nonprofit research organizations. Are you kidding me? No liability, no license, no permit, exempt from all reporting. Number 2, laboratory research and experiments. And number 3, activities of an emergent character for the protection against fire. Anybody want to talk about West Coast fires? Frost, sleet, or fog, and activities normally engaged in for purposes other than those of inducing, increasing, decreasing, or preventing precipitation or hail. So there's a big loophole for you to do basically whatever the hell you want in the state of Washington, and you don't have to report your weather modification activities. This is important. And that's why we have things like what's going on today with David Keith's new experiment called SCOPEX, Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment. SCOPEX is going to be held somewhere in Arizona. They're going to fly a balloon up in the sky and spray the sky to do a test of geoengineering to see what it would be like. And they even have it in here, about the geoengineering ban. So, where were we? Does SCOPEX violate the Convention for Biological Diversity? And they go on to say that, no climate-related geoengineering activities of blah, blah, blah. SCOPEX would not affect biodiversity because it would pose no significant hazard to people or the environment as noted above. So even though there's a ban, they're just going, well, it's not going to affect biodiversity. It's not going to kill any animals. So really the ban doesn't apply to what we're doing. And that's kind of important because that's just been the idea all along. Real quick, let me hop back over here. So that leads us to the final question. Well, what's going on in the skies? Well, they call that accidental geoengineering. Anything that has to do with ship tracks, contrails, contrail cirrus, persistent contrails, what everybody calls chemtrails, they call that accidental geoengineering. And I strongly suggest you read the article either over on ClimateViewer.com. I also posted this on climatex.mit.edu. And I go through all of the details on this accidental geoengineering and how these people see what we call chemtrails as just an accident. It's a technocrat mindset, just like you're saying, Ken Ray, in chat. The technocrats are going to push ahead with this no matter what. So that leads us to the final question. Who is paying for all this? If the government at every turn has said, no, we will not fund this, I have your answers right here. And this comes from a paper called Mapping the Landscape of Climate Engineering. This was posted in 2014. You can see a free version of the article here. but it basically breaks it down like this. Funding sources, the largest of which is the National Science Foundation. So that is who is funding geoengineering. Also, the European Commission, NASA, the larger the name, the more money they put in, EPSRC and NERC from the UK, the Royal Society over in the UK, and the Fund for Innovative Climate and Energy Research, FICER. FICER is run by Bill Gates. So that's where Bill Gates' money comes into all of this. U.S. Department of Energy, National Center for Atmospheric Research, NCAR. I interviewed them at the Weather Modification Conference. NOAA, Russian Foundation for Basic Research. There's the Russians. Academy of Finland, and the list goes on and on. Penn State Center for blah blah Climate Risk Management. So this is who's paying for geoengineering research. And then over here on the side is SRM authors, solar radiation management authors, people who are writing the research. So they take this money over here and give it to these people over here who do the research on geoengineering. Top of the list, Ken Caldera, Alan Robach, the two that were at the first congressional hearing that I mentioned. So that's how you know this is all crap. They're going to push ahead with this no matter what, and that is where all the funding is coming from. So now you guys see the big picture. I wanted to, just shine some light on this stuff because most people, A, don't know the geoengineering has already been banned. B, they don't give a crap. C, they've been trying to get funding for this from the federal government for years. At every turn, they have failed. And they get their funding from all of these individual groups. All of this information is available on ClimateViewer.com and WeatherModificationHistory.com. And all of this is mapped out on ClimateViewer.org. I hope that you guys will spread this message around and let people know that, geoengineering is banned. Bans don't work. And for that reason, I have proposed something called the Environmental Modification Accountability Act. And the purpose of this is to actually bring some teeth to ENMID. It's to end atmospheric experimentation without notification worldwide, to create an international registry of atmospheric experimentation so that they have to tell everybody simultaneously before they screw with the sky, before they block the sun, and they can be held accountable in a court of law at the very least. And I've actually gotten pretty good support even from the geoengineers on this, that have sworn, hey, accountability is a must. It is, we need to have transparency, and take it a step further. We need to be able to catch people who are up to no good. So verify composition of our atmosphere, chemical aerosol gases, and electromagnetic activity by creating both a citizen-powered and government-sponsored sensor network with data publicly available displayed in real time, similar to what we have on ClimateViewer 3D. So that, before they go screw with the sky, they have to tell us. And that if you're hostile, that we can tell because you didn't notify the international board. We caught you doing it. You're up to no good. You just broke ENMID. So that's the goal here, is for people to see the big picture. The big picture is they're going to continue their agenda of geoengineering and weather modification, try to get federal funding. Lobbying is always a part of that. And global warming is the latest boogeyman that they're going to use to try to make that possible. So please spread this message. Please continue to support my work on ClimateViewer.com. You can do that by giving a one-time donation on PayPal or supporting me monthly on Patreon. I would greatly appreciate all of your support. But more than that, sharing is caring. So please share this video and inform others. Please watch the videos. Actually go and watch the congressional testimony. It's very informative, and it'll give you all the tools you need to really argue with other people and say, hey, these people are up to no good, and they know it, and they're trying to get money so they can do this and make it all legal. So now you've been informed, and with information comes great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. So I ask that you use this information to attack ideas, not people.